Well, I'd like to welcome you to Lesson 2, and I believe there are many of you, when you watched the first lesson and you saw a little picture of me at the bottom right, you said to yourselves, that's too small. It would be really nice if you would enlarge your face, Donnie. Well, I'm going to do just that this lesson because I totally agree with you. But you're not always going to see my face, and the reason is because I want you to focus more on the presentation and on where the mouse goes as we go through these lessons. Well, I'd like to welcome you to Lesson 2, creating a basic presentation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these slides, and as I go through these slides, I want you to remember that as you're taking this class, you're not only learning how to use Keynote, you're learning how to teach others how to use Keynote, particularly students in the classroom or your colleagues. And so take this particular presentation as a lesson plan that you can copy and use to actually teach others Keynote. So, as you know, there's a total of 7 lessons. Of course, your students will always like to have a roadmap. Well, maybe not all students like to, but those who care about their learning will like to have a roadmap of where they're going. And so we are in Lesson 2, and we're at the red letters that are right here. Again, I'm somewhat speaking to your students here and giving you an example of how to talk to your students so that when you're teaching them, you have an example through me of how to present the information. Okay, as a reminder, and I'm going to switch gears from talking to students to talking to you as a professional, remember these 6 points. Find what inspires you, organize a storyline, relate to your audience, grab their attention, evoke a call to action, and ahead of time practice. Now, in the last lesson, you would have seen David Cox present some different ideas of how Steve Jobs does it. That's great too. But the main point is, when helping your students with a tool like Keynote or any presentation software, and we know there's a variety of them. There's PowerPoint, there's Keynote, there's Prezi, there's Google Presentation. All of these software tools, they get upgraded year after year. Some come, some go, new ones come into the market. But you want your students to not just view these tools as just tools. You want them to be anchored in the realization that their ideas count and can change the world. And that these tools allow them a venue, a channel, a vehicle in order to present these ideas in a clear way. So that's why these 6 items are important to memorize. I hope you have them. The goal of this course, particularly this lesson, is to help you learn the important vocabulary for teaching Keynote and help you create a basic presentation. And so this right here is a simple lesson plan. The objective, learn the vocabulary and basics for a Keynote presentation. Step 1, learn this vocabulary. I just basically have 6 words: icon, template, thumbnail, text, and presentation mode. Step 2, to create a Keynote presentation, follow these steps. Click on the Keynote icon, click on the plus, or on presentations. Click on a template, add the number of slides you want, and add pictures. That, what you're looking at right now, is a lesson plan for helping your students learn how to create a basic presentation. If they have those vocabulary words, and they have those 5 steps under Step 2, boom, they are well on their way. In fact, if all you had time to do was give them one lesson, just give them this lesson, and then tell them, I want you to go home, or go to your relative's house if you don't have a Mac computer, or you can go ahead and use your mom's iPhone, download the app. I want you to go ahead and create a presentation on your own. You'd be surprised. Once you give kids the basics, they can do the rest. Now, of course, this course is going to walk you as the instructor through some of the more complicated items that we hope your students would also learn. But I'd like you to see this particular slide as a lesson plan for teaching Keynote. Okay, now let's go ahead and execute on the lesson plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and shrink that presentation, and I'm going to bring up a reflection of my iPad. So we'll have to give it a little bit of time here. 1 second. Oops. star D again. Okay, so what I'm going to do is turn this on. Then just give it a few seconds, and once it pops up, we'll have everything we need. Okay. And there we have it. So you're looking at, currently, my iPad. So you would instruct your students to first go to the icon. And I'm going to shift from talking to your students again to talking to you. But just notice the vocabulary that I use. Click on the icon that says Keynote. That's this icon right here. Once you get here, you can click on the plus sign, and it will take you to what are called templates. That's really the second vocabulary word. Then you can select a template. We'll just click on, well, let's click on the one with the parrot. And you'll notice that at the top here, there's a small, what's called a thumbnail of the larger picture. So that's a third vocabulary word. And let's just slide over here and look at our vocabulary words. We have icon, template, and thumbnail. So if I move this, I'm going to cover everything up just for a little bit. We can go ahead and click on the plus sign here. And once we click on that, we can go ahead and add another slide. I'll click on the parrot. That adds another thumbnail. Then what we can do is we can double tap here and add text. We'll wait till that O comes up, slowly but surely. Looks like that's one too many O's. And so we have hello here. So text, and I'm going back over to here, you'll notice is our fourth vocabulary word. And then presentation mode, it's two other words, presentation and mode, but we'll just call it one phrase, is basically when you click on this button, it puts you in presentation mode. So if I click on the home page, or I'll just call this the home slide, I'll just double click. I'll put title, T-I-T-L-E. I'll go ahead and shrink the particular keyboard, and then I'll hit this presentation mode. And once I hit that presentation mode, it shows me the first slide, and then when I swipe, it shows me the second slide. So that's a basic presentation. We did the simple steps, and we also learned the simple vocabulary words. That's an excellent way to start out your class of learning how to use Keynote. Thank you very much.